welcome to this edition of the Time with Hime podcast. I'm your host, Lynn Cordes, joined by our superintendent, Mr. Hime. Hello.
How are you doing today?
I am great. It's beautiful outside.
I hope everybody had a great Easter, maybe the best Easter weekend weather we've had in a long time. We reduced some good weather and some good news, so awesome. Hope everybody enjoyed their Easter break.
I hope we can get some of this wind to just calm down a little bit.
Yes.
Just a little.
We do live in southwest Oklahoma. We know we're going to get some wind, but we'd definitely like to have a few calm days with the weather starting to move toward the 80s and some good outdoor time. So
and lots of activities going on and celebrations to get into. So let's just go ahead and start our podcast.
The Bo Bowman was last weekend, and we had two Lawton teams in the final, and Lawton MacArthur beat Lawton Eisenhower to win the championship. Awesome. Congratulations to both teams. Great weather for it. I think all the games got in. Everything went smooth. A great tournament, and very exciting to be around for my first go at the Bo Bowman and getting to hear a lot about that because I coached baseball once about 30 years ago. And so, congratulations to the teams and congratulations to all the staff who put that on.
Yes, lots of moving parts and lots of people coming in and out. So that was fun to see as we were heading out for the weekend.
Yes.
And it was a nice 4-day weekend. And enjoyed that. What other kind of celebrations do we have that we want to talk about?
Well, I know the FFA's having their plant sale and they've almost sold out. I think Saturday is their last day. So if you're expecting to buy something from them, you need to get up there Saturday and get it purchased because they're going to be sold out after Saturday is my understanding, which is awesome. Yes. Thanks. Big shout out to our community for supporting that because, obviously they can make all they want. If the community doesn't come purchase it, they wouldn't be sold out. So shout out,
And they've done a great job. The flowers were beautiful, and they were supposed to do it again next week, but because of the great support, they just have the one Saturday, and it's been great. The kids did a great job, growing that. Now we also have Lincoln that we've just, we're working on the sidewalk and the changes at that school.
Yeah, everybody go by and look. We're working on it and kind of get that school. They won one. They were drawn out as a makeover, and we're continuing those projects, and we're excited about that. You might have noticed on the board agenda we purchased a property over there just east of Lincoln, and the ideal there is it's that house just to the east. It's on the south, in the west, excuse me. It's on the south side west there on Park, and that house has got boards and such on the window. We're going to expand the parking lot and get a little bit more freedom when parents and buses and things are driving through, and try to open that alley back up where it's safer and we can have more parking and make it a more visibly aesthetic for people driving by and such.
And speaking of purchasing land, we also did at our last board meeting sell some property, sell some schools.
Yes, when I got here, Wilson was needed to be demoed. It was beyond repair, and so that school building, we finally got it sold, so we don't have to keep up the land. And then Sweeney, for whatever reason, when Sweeney was abandoned, the roof started leaking and it caused more problems. And I think with this, the changes and such, it got a little behind schedule and somebody had stolen the copper out of it. And so we did get that school sold again. It was another building that was to the point where we would have to do a lot of work to ever get it. The renovations would cost more than just demoing and starting over. So we no longer own Sweeney. So that's good for the school because that's two sites we don't have to keep up anymore. And again, that's one of the goals I had when I came in is we're going to work to keep all of our buildings up to date. We're not going to abandon neighborhood buildings, and we had that discussion this week. Kind of when you go into things we do is about what are our facilities and what are they going to look like. And we had that discussion and the board got to vote and approve, because last year we were in a pandemic and we just got to do things because of pandemic reasoning. So at the last minute, we made Washington a virtual school and Adams a virtual school because of low enrollment. Those enrollment numbers have not come up. Part of that is we're still kind of coming out of the pandemic, we think. So for next year, again, Washington will be our pre-KK and 1-2 virtual school. Adams will be our 3-4-5 virtual school. So we'll have teachers at those buildings. We'll continue to keep those buildings up. And hey, wasn't it great when we had the damage at Edison that we had Adams there? So that won't change, but the board did vote on that. So again, we'll keep those up and we'll not let those buildings become eyesores to their neighborhood is kind of the goal there. And, and if at some point the enrollment comes back up, we'd definitely rather have students in those than just teachers in them. We're glad but they're serving as well. And then Tomlinson, we went ahead and voted that Tomlinson will be a Life Ready Center. We're very excited about that. We do understand that's a bit of a struggle for our Tomlinson teachers. Some of them have been there for many years. We're working on, getting that, working on facilitating that move, and our staff members are starting to work with them. I know the special ed department wants to take a little bit more time with the teachers to make sure the students are placed before they start placing teachers, but there's a lot of work going on trying to get them, properly placed and give teachers options, and then we'll try to, help and facilitate that move. But we are excited about the Life Ready Center. As far as the division, now that it's central, in Eisenhower Middle School, we made the new transportation line, 38th Street, and again, there will be options to parents in there, and for the first few years, we're going to try to provide multiple transportation to Central and Eisenhower Middle School for the students that would have went to Tomlinson, just to try to facilitate that transition. And, the hope is with the new transfer law passed by the state, a student can go to any school they want in the state. It basically created open transfers within the state. Therefore, I think it really forces us to even go a little bit further, because we've talked about open transfers within Lawton Public Schools. Well, if they can go to any school, then we're going to really work hard to allow you to go to any school. So the site you want to attend in Lawton is up to you. We do not provide transportation for every site, but if a parent has transportation, they can choose their child's school site. It's pretty much, we're pretty open on that at Lawton Public Schools right now.
And we'll be changing our boundary maps that are online to reflect those changes for the next school year.
And again, our boundary maps are based upon transportation,
whether we can transport.
Those are guaranteed transportation lines is what our boundary maps will be. But as far as, attendance, again, we would rather people to stay in their neighborhood schools because it's shorter transportation and it makes staffing easier. But if a parent chooses another site, we will do everything we can to facilitate that.
And speaking of staffing, we do have pre-K enrollment, and that's already happening. It's different than what we did previous years, because they would sign up and then in August they would go in and officially enroll. But now we're enrolling them. And when you talk about staffing, that just reminded me to remind our families, if you know a pre-K student, 4 years, and on September 1st, then they can go ahead and go on our website and sign up for pre-K next year.
Yes, and that goal again is to get, to be flexible and try to get parents located where they want, because again, as a school district, we need to create as many opportunities for our parents and students, and that starts all the way in pre-K. So hopefully parents are getting signed up and we can give them the location. Pre-K is a little tough because, the class sizes and in the space. How many classes do we have? And we've used Learning Tree as an overflow. If you couldn't get into your local one, you went to Learning Tree. Our hope is to expand local, because we would rather you be able to take your child to the school, the site of your choice for pre-K as well. But we still have Learning Tree if they fill out. And some people, Learning Tree is just easy access for going to work and such, and we'll continue that option.
Another thing that we want to remind our families of, and our staff as well, is the changes to our policy manual.
Yes. That's, one thing you do when you're a new superintendent is when you get there, that's recommended, is you look at the policy manual. When was the last time it was updated? And I think the last time this one was updated totally was 1998, which makes it 23 years old. So we took the manual, we sent it off to the attorneys to go through it, and they sorted through it, and they sent back the policies that were out of date or conflicting. And we went through and pulled all those out, and we created a book of recommended policies that are by state law, recommended by the attorneys. And so now that book the board approved. So now we'll go back through what they approved, because obviously a lot of us looked at it. The board members did a great job. I mean, this is the third time I've done this in my career. I will say this board here did a super job of going through the book. I mean, I had board members that read it all. But still, there's going to be some typos or some wordings, or there may be some policies that were presented to us that we thought they were legal, but they were recommended. So, our recommendation right now is anybody who sees the policy, if it's a changed policy and they feel like it adversely affects them, or they don't like the way it was changed, let us know. We'll review that policy versus the old one. We'll check with attorneys and say, did we change it up based on a recommendation or on a legal? Our ultimate goal was that we were changing policies based upon legal reasons, not recommendations, because we have a policy committee for support, a policy committee for certified, and we like to give those people a little bit of chance to work through the superintendent to the board for recommendations of policy changes. So I just want it understood that the book should be, it's going to have some variables that we can look at, but for the most part, the book should be based upon legal policies. So again, if you see them, we'll email the lawyers, and if we can adjust those, we'll be flexible with that. And
our certified staff can work through their PPDC representative, and our support can work through their SPPDC representative.
Yes, send them an email, let them know the policies you got questioned. They can send those on to us, and again, we're going to basically send them to the attorneys, and if the attorneys has flexibility, we'll get back and say, hey, and then we'll go to the policy book, for lack of a better term, is a living document. It's not
not the end of just a discussion.
It's not the same. The Bible is the same. You don't change it. The policy book is made to be adjusted or flexible and to change every month based upon law, legal changes, district changes, and how we deal with things. So if there's something there that we changed, we hope we changed it just for legal reasons. But again, in a book that big, there is a chance that it's a typo or something that was overlooked that we need to correct, and we'll gladly do that at the next board meeting or the next, the first available board meeting. We can get it on there because the policy book is meant to work for all of us. It's kind of that old saying: the board's job is to set policy. That's the board sets the policy. So we present a legal policy to them. They did go through it because they do it as their job. And again, a shout out to how diligently they went through it. But still,
it was a big book.
That big of a book, there's a potential for a typo or something they missed or we missed. And as those are missed, we want to be made aware of them so we can make corrections as needed.
And our policy manual for our staff and families that are looking for it, still on our website under the Board of Education. And you'll see a link when you click on there, Board of Education Agendas and Policies, and it's on the right-hand side. And it's searchable. That's the one thing that I really, really like. You just type in there.
Yeah, you can type in a word, and it'll give you all the policies.
Dress code or
whatever, and it'll give it to you. And that's the other thing, when you talk to legal, that people got to realize is if it's not in there, the reason it may not be in there is because legal recommends that's a procedure and part of handbooks, not a policy. You don't have to have a policy for everything. When we talk about what you want to create is a policy book that you can enforce. You don't want a lot of policies in your book you're not enforcing, or policies that are on the that are debatable. So hopefully we can continue to improve that book, and it's kind of one of those things. We know we made it better because it's now passed through the lawyer's hands. We still know we just got to continue to work with it and make it better every day.
The one thing that was exciting for us this week to talk about was seeing the sense of normalcy coming back into our schools and with our staff and just even the activities that the kids are doing. Share what
it's getting
like.
Tough. I know people are like me. It's not that I've worn the mask like everybody's worn the mask. It's just not. I guess I'm a talker, and I don't like to talk with the mask on. So it's been a struggle because we're getting back closer to the norm. But as we get to the it's just like let's get to graduation, and then we're gonna hopefully we can shed these masks for a while and not worry about them again. But man, it's exciting. We're having our senior classes are having a dance. It's not a full blown formal prom. Part of that was we still worried about people going out and buying prom dresses, renting tuxes, and all of a sudden get a spike, and we have to cancel it. But they are having a deal. Graduations outside going, so we're getting closer and closer to normal. And we really do believe that we'll roll back into next year normal. And again, we're going to have we're still going to be flexible with our parents. We're going to offer our night virtual if there's a need. We'll offer virtual school for our parents that need it. High school will have some student-paced. We'll still have that night virtual for elementary parents that are interested in that. And we're kind of excited about that and continuing to get better at that.
And for those that don't know where the graduation dates are, they're on our website, they're on our social media. Mark those calendars down. We have promotion getting ready. They're lining them up for our middle schools. A lot of big things coming up. Let's also talk about the celebrations of assignments and, look-aheads as far as schools.
Ms. Jackson announced, it's kind of an interesting phenomenon when you're a first-year superintendent at a school and you look up and you're going to get new high school principals. And not only are we going to get new, all three of them, but again, it was their choice. Dr. Pacino was promoted over to the board office to be an executive director over here. She got her doctorates, and part of that is I think she wants to be in central office administration, so we're excited about that. Miss Oates, Charlotte, she took on the Life Ready Center. She basically said she'd retired twice. She'll probably retire again, but she is going to go work at the Life Ready Center, and she's really working hard to make that go. And then Miss Martinez wanted to spend with less stress. It would be a good with her child. She's got a child, I believe, that's a sophomore, and she wanted to go. She wanted to go be an assistant at MacArthur and work with be where he was at and be able to enjoy his years and his junior and senior year and just kind of be a part of the activities, which is hard to do when you're the principal at another school district. So we have Danny Smith going to be the principal at MacArthur. Mr. Kirchen is going to be the principal at Lawton High, and Jay Lear, who's going to move over to Eisenhower and be the principal. And then
Miss Mason will be
Jennifer Mason.
Yes.
Yeah, my name. Miss Mason is going to go to Douglas and be over our Gateway Life Ready virtual and Gateway virtual and LVA night and day, all of our alt school at Douglas. We're going to try to get all the secondary there, and then Miss Collins will be over the middle school virtual. So we've got those lined up. We have some Miss Snavely. Ella is going from virtual to Cleveland because Mr. Prince retired. So right there is kind of where we're at right now. So we're excited about those moves and those, basically everything's been done within the district so far. So that's good that we're able to use our people, and we got leaders in the ranks ready to step up and take over those jobs. So we're really excited about it and continue to build our leadership.
Let's keep the congratulations going. The Lawton FFA, they have just went to several competitions in the last week, and they've come back champions and winners.
That's awesome, isn't it? Yes, and very proud of our FFA group. And, our esports just got back.
Yes, they placed as well, and we shared that out.
Yep, that's awesome for how well they did at state. So just got a lot of things going on. It's springtime. Isn't it nice? We were talking about normalcy. It's just nice to just sit outside on your porch and just get to go somewhere and sit at a baseball game and watch and enjoy. So,
and I want you to give a shout out to our transportation and talk about your bus. What happened where we were able to help another school district.
Oh yeah, we had a deal where a superintendent at another school. I was looking on, I don't know if it was one of those social media sites. It popped up on my phone that Granite Public Schools, they had a bus catch on fire, and it was like, oh, we're out of buses. Anybody know I can get where I can get a bus? And I'm thinking, we got lots of buses and we got backup buses and such. So I didn't have the superintendent's phone number, but I happened to be by one of our employees who'd been around. And I just said, has anybody got the Granite superintendent's phone? And he said, I used to work with her. I might have. And how you dig through your feet, he found it. So he called her. And yeah, she was just out of buses. So Skeeter Sampler, one of our employees who works at one of our virtual high school teacher, and he also drives a bus for us. And Dr. James and Jack Hanna, on Friday morning on their day off, they took 2 buses. Dr. James followed them in a car. They took 2 buses to Granite, and we're loaning them 2 school buses to get through until they're able to purchase some. And they were thankful. That's the best 2 buses they have. And and it's great. 2 things. It's easy for me. I got a shout out on social media for being great, but I really didn't do anything. Those 3 guys took a day off just to help kids from another school district. And it's kind of what I tell you. It's what we're about. My first responsibility is to the students of Lawton Public Schools. I should be making decisions that are best for kids, but Lawton Public Schools, but I got into this business for all kids. So after Lawton Public Schools, if I can do something that doesn't hurt our kids, but helps other kids, I do feel like that's something I need to do as well. And this is one of those that our guys all stepped up. It was good for it didn't hurt our district, no negative effect whatsoever. There were 2 buses we really weren't using at all. We had no need for, and so they're able to use them, and they're very excited about it. And it's just a good look on ours. But again, super shout out to those 3 guys for taking half a day of their time to help out. Again, I just made the decision. They did the work.
And I'll continue the celebrations for our transportation department. Our bus drivers and our monitors have been very flexible and always there taking care of our kids. But they've also had some moves throughout the school year on top of a pandemic where they were moving parking lot and
crazy,
areas and moving buses left and right. And they have been troopers and just really flexible.
Well, and part of the deal with the bus drivers when I got here, and that's a great group of people that drive buses for us. But I remember when I came, before the pandemic in January and February, those guys got their places, because they drive a bus in the morning and they get through and they got a couple hours of time between their next routes. But they socialized, they had cookouts, they were a family, and it gave them people to socialize and things to do. Well, with the pandemic, it's just come drive a bus, go home, kill 2 hours, come drive it. They've lost that part, but they've still stepped up, and hopefully they get back to that because, I'm one of those guys that, as people know, that if they're cooking some good barbecue over there or grilling some hamburgers or doing something like that,
that's a great group.
I don't mind sliding over there and socializing with them a little bit. They're a pretty good group of guys, especially when they're cooking.
And our gals too over there are phenomenal. I've had some of their side dishes and their meats, and they run it well.
Hey, those bus driver cookouts, those are top of the line. So yeah, we miss those, and we're looking forward to one of those next year.
Is there anything else you want to celebrate before we head out for the weekend?
No. our maker spaces. We had a church, and we'll get some pictures and socialize who it was, donate Lego sets to every maker space in the district. Really nice. And they even threw in some toys and some other things, but we'll give more of that. But it's just a great shout out to the community. They know we're doing these STEM centers and maker spaces, and we're starting to get donations. We've had money donate. Hey, they're going to be awesome. This is going to be
wait.
Vanessa and Doris and them and her team. Hey, this is going to be awesome where we're headed with these maker spaces and just some of the things we're doing. We're just really excited.
More to come. We'll keep you, waiting and coming back for our podcast because we truly have enjoyed it. So thank you guys for spending, some time with us in the week and hearing what's going on. Thank you, Mr. Hime, for your time. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. A special shout out to Bello for keeping our batteries charged so we can get through this podcast and have plenty of camera space. We're excited. Thank you, Bello.
And share out where they can reach out to us if they have any questions.
info at Lawton Public Schools, lawtonps.org. And please send those questions because we really do go through those and answer them, especially, those that we look at them and send them to other people sometimes for answers. But if we can answer them on the podcast, we'll gladly do it.
All right, Mr. Hime, have a great weekend. You guys have a great weekend. Thank you for your time. Until next week, we will see them. Stay well, be safe, and make positive impacts. Have a good one.